Hey guys, how's it going? I know it's been a little while. I was dealing with kidney stones. You guys ever dealt or know anybody that dealt with them? They're no fun. But I lasted about a month and finally had to go in and get them and take them out, and that was last week. And so now I'm feeling better, and now I'm back in the garage and doing some wrenching. And I figured I'd take you along and we'll see what's going on. And what's going on is I've been running the single cab around for all summer, hitting shows and whatnot. And I went and adjusted the brakes last week. And one adjuster took a lot of adjusting. There's two on each front wheel. And one took like 8 turns. All the other ones took like a turn. So it was kind of wearing a brake shoe kind of funny on the inside. And while I was in there, the passenger front wheel felt like the wheel bearing just had some play in it. And you guys are familiar with wheel bearings, they're kind of, each one's on a taper. You got a nut on the back side, and you run the nut in, it kind of decreases the taper if the wheel's going to kind of wobble to it, and that's your final adjustment for that. Well, I went to go adjust that, and it did not take, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It did not take to the adjustment. And what that means is I ran the nut, I'll open it up later and show you, but I ran the nut in, and yeah, you basically want to run it, there's a big washer, and you kind of, just so you start getting drag on the washer, and you know that you have fairly even pressure on it. Well, I did that, but it still has this problem. So I do believe that is what my issue is, why I wore the brake shoe, and after I adjusted the brakes, it would kind of make a funky noise at slow speeds trying to hit the brakes. And so my thought, what's going on is that the race, probably the inner race, is either spun on the drum or it's spun on the spindle, and the race itself is kind of slopping around, and no amount of adjusting the taper is going to get rid of that. Unfortunately, the drum is no longer available. Not that I probably wouldn't be able to find a used one, but we're going to take it apart, see if that is the case, and if we have to, we're probably going to build up the spindle or try to make a shim around the drum. Even maybe possibly I can get the drum on a lathe. I may be able to kind of machine it a little bit better and kind of make a spacer for that location. But let me get it apart, and we'll have a better idea what's going on, and I'll turn you back on in a second. Alright, I got the dust cap off and the tire off, and there's like a metal keeper. You fold the edges over, and it keeps the jam nuts from backing off. Alright, I just bent that out of the way. You can see it's got like a little key on it. So that kind of keeps the nuts from turning. Should have backed off my brakes before I did this. And we're gonna have to go do that. I need a rag, and I need a bar and a flashlight. The little lip on the brake drum keeps it from coming off because you're trying to back it over the brake shoe. So. that one. Got enough. And then there's one on the bottom. See anything jumping right out at me. I don't see little grinds and, well, a little bit of metal dust in there. So, wipe it down and see what we got. Could be my kingpin itself. Well, I'm going to go fit those bearings on there. Actually, I'd probably do the outer one now. I don't think it would be the outer one. That's plenty tight. And I'm going to go I'm going to go with that, get that inner one out of there. I'm going to show you a trick. A lot of times if you try taking the seal out of the back of the drum, see if you guys looking at that. That seal, if you know, you're probably under it, you're going to wipe out that seal, so I'm going to show you a little trick. You put that sucker back on there, and take one of the nuts. Run the nut back on there, and what that does is makes a lip for the bearing to kind of hit, like that, and it pops it right out of there without damaging anything. Let's go see if that race is moving at all. So that looks tight in there. Take that off. You don't see any major scratches on the bearing itself, so I don't think that's bad. But we're going to want to see if that bearing slops around on that. I'd say that's tight too. So that is not my issue. My issue is going to be my kingpin up there. But that will not be any cause to my brake and why that adjuster ended up taking so much adjustment. I said to myself. Alright, well I'm going to go try to figure out what's going on here and I'll turn you back on. Alright, well just kind of goes to show that what you think is going on inside your head, what your little story you got going on when you think is happening isn't really what's happening. And it actually ended up being a lot simpler than what I thought it was. Again, the kingpin's got some play in it, and it's the nature of those. But I was more concerned about eating the bearing up or eating the brakes up. And if you look closely, you see that spring right there. It's got like chafing marks on it. I'm talking about right there. So what was actually happening is, I think I probably have that spring on backwards, I'm guessing, because if you look at the space down below, it's away from it a little bit, and that one's kind of right up against there. Maybe, maybe not. I may flip it over. It may end up staying in the exact same spot. But I'm going to go do that, and what I think was happening was, if you look at the race, the seal rather, you can see where it was just kind of rubbing in one spot. And I have a feeling whenever you hit the brakes, the brakes would go out, that spring would get close enough where it would start rubbing on the wheel. And I also heard it kind of like, you go down the road, you hear like a boom, 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 kind of weird noise. It didn't sound like a wheel bearing noise, but you kind of knew it was coming from the wheel. So probably what it was doing, it was just kind of clipping that spring and causing that spring to vibrate and rub. So it looks like a fairly easy fix. No bearings are gone. I don't have to shim anything, you know. It's fine by me. I'm glad to see nothing was eating itself inside there or something that I put together originally. I screwed up on. So that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go take that spring and flip it around and put it all back together. I looked at the lip on the drum. It didn't look like it was touching anywhere on the drum. I'm talking about right here. And there's no shiny spot that was on that. So that seal just may sit a little proud. Worst case scenario, I could probably put a shim right here, which would just bring the whole assembly out just a hair. We're not talking much. But I figure if I can get that spring to sit back a little further, that may just take care of all the issues to begin with. So I'm gonna go get on that and flip that puppy around there, and we'll see how that looks. So I popped the shoes off, and then, you know, no pressures on the spring. You actually see that the springs actually have a bow to them. I have a feeling that bow is to try to tuck them out of the way. I also wonder if possibly just the age of them is getting so bad where they're actually kind of almost straightening out and causing them to touch. But I'm still going to go and flip that guy around. This one's the culprit right here, and we'll see if it kind of tucks itself out of the way. So that's what I'm talking about as far as the bow. Well, I got it back together and flipped that sucker over, and I would say that distance is much further away, and that should fix my problem. Sometimes it's the little things that get you. Again, as I said, that's fine. I'll live with that. Much better than making shims and grinding and lathing and all that kind of stuff. So I am going to button this all back together and make sure my noise is gone. Hey, well, that's all back together. And we're in around, and now I had some extra time. I thought I would be in this for a little bit more, and so I just decided to give her a once over, did some maintenance. As you can see, I went and hit all the grease fittings and adjusted the brakes again all the way around and checked fluid levels. I adjusted the steering box a little bit, took a little bit of play out of that, and topped that off. Kind of just giving it a general look over. Kind of the first time I've had it back on the lift in a long time. And one of the last things I did was I sprayed it down with bar and chain oil, and it looks like it's holding up pretty good. Let's see if I could do this. Let's see how my light's fighting me. All right. So I still got a coating on it, and generally what I find is you kind of let it build the road dust on it. You can kind of see it's, you know, again, there's the dust right there. And then you give it one more coat, and then that kind of lets it really have some good protection. So this fall I plan on, I bought an actual undercoating gun instead of trying to use a spray gun. And I'll go over and I'll hit all my vehicles again. I'm not seeing any issues. Again, I filled the trans probably took about a pint, half a quart, and it's damp here and there, but I don't see anything pouring out anywhere. Yeah, slight oil leaks, so say about, probably uses about a quart, so it drips a quart about every 2,000 miles, which is fine. Again, it's not my everyday car. If it was, it'd be an issue, but as far as an antique, yeah, it seems like it's acceptable to me. I'm happy with it. So I am going to go and let it down and take it for a little ride, make sure our goofy noises are gone. The trans is a little wet. That's fine. Built-in undercoating, I say. And I put, I don't know if I said it earlier, I put about 6,500 miles on it since we put her together. So, everything's held up well since then. You know, the little things, I adjusted the valves and, you know, adjusted the points once and changed the oil a couple of times. Other than that, it looks like it's doing just fine. Alright, so let me get her down out of the air and back out in the driveway. Alright, let's go little road test. See how it does. Got Lucy in the way. Squeeze her around her. Alright, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna have to put you down for a sec. Check. Go figure, no noise. Ready to get seasick? Sorry about that. Here, hold it. I got the steering a little too tight. I gotta back it off of here. I feel a little bit of drag. Speeding. I went to a couple of VW shows. One in Shrewsbury, Mass, and another one in Acton, Maine. I got second place for Shrewsbury show in Splitty class. Then I washed the windows and I got first place in Splitty yesterday. And I also got the other one there is best display because I had the bikes there. It's kind of funny how the cheapest bus there takes first place in the most expensive one. I don't even think showed. It was for sale for $43,000. But to be fair, I think he got there along the lakeside. But so be it. Patina's in for now. Go up here and do one more brake check at this corner where I'm going to go turn. We'll see if we're nice and quiet. I'm going to shut you guys off because I can't drive and hold the camera at the same time. Feels fine. Get on it. That's not my brakes, that's the truck right there. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Take care.